we're, basically at the tail end of 2025 in terms of the tennis season, and we're right in the thick of the ATP Finals. And I think, Mike, if we were having the conversation or a discussion about Felix Auger-Aliassime qualifying for Turin, back in July or August, it was such a complete, afterthought. It was never even in the back of my mind, could Felix make a push for Turin? Could Felix be in the mix for a top 10 spot before the end of the season? That's how rocky I think the first half of the campaign was for him. And we've just seen this remarkable turnaround. What a fantastic finish to 2025. And he got himself back to the Nitto ATP Finals for the second time of his career. Um, First time in 3 years, and it's just amazing what you can do to your season with a great couple of months, and he really managed that from Flushing Meadows on.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show you how grueling the season can be, and there's been so much focus. I feel like more and more focus as the years have gone along in terms of just how grueling the season is and what the player
Yep.
responses, are to that. And you look at it, he started his season out by winning in Adelaide. So you start your season with a title and you're feeling pretty good. He won a title early February as well. I forget where that was, and it's not like he started the year on the back foot. Semifinal in Qatar as well. So he did have and finals in Dubai. Like he started the season well, but then there was definitely a lull, which I think you alluded to. And you're thinking, why can't he sustain that momentum? Why can't Felix at the age of what is he now, 24, 25? Like, why can't he keep pushing forward to get back to the top 10, which we've seen him able to do in recent years? And then the back end of the season was just terrific from the US Open onwards. Indoor season, once again, reminding us how he's one of the top 5 indoor players in the world. And to finish this way and to be at the ATP finals, given that the middle chunk of the season was kind of suspect, is just a stark reminder that really Felix does belong in the top 10 in the game. And as much as the tour is dominated right now by Sinner and Alcaraz in terms of major results, I think Felix is still in that just next tier down with plenty of time to assert himself into that conversation, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, and definitely, obviously, turning himself into a top 10 mainstay. I think we obviously want to get rid of those lulls, and easier said than done. But with his talent and his skill set, I do believe he's an all court player, an all surface player, someone who can have the year round success. And look, he finds himself here in the Bjorn Borg group alongside Jannik Sinner, Ben Shelton, Alexander Zverev. And if we talk about Sinner, I mean, Jannik already picked up the 7-5, 6-1 win over Felix Auger-Aliassime in Felix's debut match. Competitive for the first set. Felix was right with him, kind of till the tail end moment of the set. Sinner gets his break, and then Felix kind of slowed by a bit of a calf injury. I think that's kind of more the reality of what it's like to face Jannik Sinner on a hard court in 2025, one of the 2 best players in the world.
Yeah, no doubt at all about that. And hopefully Felix ready to go for his next match Wednesday against Ben Shelton. Felix, I believe, leads that head to head, if I'm not mistaken. 1-0. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
I've
I
got it
think
written
they've
down in
only
my
played
notes.
once. Yeah, I think they've only played once,
Yeah,
and,
on clay in 2024. So you really can't take much out of that. But I would say Felix, the way he's been playing lately and with the indoor venue, I would say favored. If he's feeling good, Friday, Sasha Zverev lingers, and Zverev is a very dangerous opponent, I feel, in this tournament. He leads their head to head 6-3, although Felix won in their last match at the US Open. Most of their matches actually are a few years old, so I don't know how much stock you can put into that head to head. But look, Zverev has won this event twice before. And to me, this kind of event is prime for Zverev. Like he's never shown his full arsenal and abilities at the slams, despite making it deep before. Always seems to just be unable to get over that last hurdle. And this event, there's just, I would say, slightly less pressure, even though it's the top 8 players in the world. We all know that in this sport, the majors are king. And I feel like this one, for Sasha, is just one where he feels a little less pressure. And I'd count him as a very dangerous third option here behind Sinner and Alcaraz.
yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, and, he picked up a straight sets win over Ben Shelton, and you're right, it's kind of this unusual end of year event where I suppose it's an evaluation of here are our 8 best players from the season in terms of ranking points collected. Of course, Novak Djokovic did withdraw. Jack Draper picked up an arm injury, so suddenly he couldn't qualify either. But the last 8 kind of standing. And I sometimes do feel like that plays a factor in the results we see here. It's faster indoor, okay, so that might lend itself to certain players, but then just the tail end of the season, for me, it's like, who is kind of feeling physically fresh and ready to go, and who is ailing and limping towards the finish line, and Zverev generally seems to be pretty fit by this stage of the season. We've seen other guys kinda limp to the end, so you're right, Zverev is definitely kind of in that conversation below those 2.
And can I just say, and I mean no disrespect to this event, but like, who ultimately cares about who wins this event overall? Like, nobody, and I don't, no disrespect, but when you look back on 2025 or you look back on any calendar tennis season, nobody says, well, the winner of the ATP finals is who we're all expecting to do great things in the following year. Nobody is saying that's added to anyone's overall legacy. I mean, Nadal typically didn't do as well at this event. We don't
Hey,
hold that
never won
against,
it.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't hold this against him when we look back at his, impact and legacy as one of the greatest 3 male players of all time. Um, I just don't think it holds much stock, whereas the slams are what it's really all about. I would even argue that perhaps your record at the Masters tournaments overall and your winning percentage there holds a little bit more, water as it's over different surfaces over the course of the tennis season. So I don't really put a whole lot into this. Yeah, it's fun to see the top 8 players, but at the end of a long season, I really don't know how much we can put into what happens next year.
That's fair. I mean, look, Grigor Dimitrov is a player who's won this thing, and no disrespect to Grigor, who's had a fantastic career, but obviously we do get sometimes a mix of results. But again, I mean, when we look big picture here, I'm looking at 2 players, obviously leading the pack unquestionably in the Connors group, Carlos Alcaraz, he's already opened with wins over Alex de Minaur and Taylor Fritz, and Fritz had his chances really in their match, but Carlitos prevails in 3 sets. Beyond Zverev, I mean, can anybody else disrupt the chances of Sinner Alcaraz? Are we headed for another clash between these 2 ultimately, who have really just been sharing all of these big titles throughout 2025 for the most part?
Yeah, and even in the later stages of the season, I mean, to me, Sinner is the odds-on favorite. He won China, Vienna, and Paris indoors over Felix. Since his U.S. Open loss to Alcaraz, I don't put too much stock in his third set loss to Greek Spore with a withdrawal in Shanghai. Alcaraz has had a slightly lighter schedule since winning in New York. He won Japan, then he lost to Cam Norrie in Paris. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Novak Djokovic here, to be perfectly honest with you, playing in a best of 3 format against these guys. As I mentioned earlier, I think Zverev is a potential sneaky option in there, but otherwise, I feel like it's going to be real tough to see anyone beating Jannik Sinner right now the way he's been playing post US Open.
And is that is that, like, part and due to the surface too? Like, is it just, Alcaraz obviously leads their head-to-head 10-5. He seems to get the better of Jannik more often than not. Is this more like tailor-made surface for Jannik Sinner, why you're giving him the edge over Alcaraz?
Yeah, I think so. And, in a grueling best of 5, you gotta give a little bit of a nod to Alcaraz in terms of just physically how fit he's shown that he can be and
Yeah.
being able to stay in those matches until the late stages. So it's a combination of the best of 3 format. It's a combination of recent performance and the indoor surface, I'd say as well.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.